to get into this kind of situation. Okay, so formal negotiations are pre-arranged meetings between the parties involved. It's a fixed agenda. People know what you're going to talk about. Okay, so it goes point by point, goes step by step. There is always a time to prepare. You should never get into negotiations without preparing. You might be on the either side of the party, you have to prepare because the agenda is circulated well within time. You are given some time to prepare, you are given some time to address the issues that you're looking at. So you have time. There are roles assigned to people. He's going to open, he's going to start, he's going to step in if required, and he's going to be the mitigator. So this is all designed. And basically, apparently it seems very formal, but it's very relatively simpler to handle because the track of the route is laid. The train has to just go by. So the routes are laid, the tracks are laid. So people know that okay, this is what I'm expecting. So there are no surprises there, and that actually drives the negotiation to a success point, because you know what is expected to be discussed, you know what is the outcome expected, and you also know what is your intention of getting into this meeting. So it is kind of very one to one. It's very driven, basically. Now, what are the factors that affect the negotiation? Before we come here, okay, I always like to quote this example. Okay, we all know Sachin Tendulkar. Okay, so Sachin Tendulkar is somebody who plays brilliant in Lords, he plays brilliant in Mohali, he plays brilliant in Sharjah, but he's best at Wankhede. Why? Because Wankhede is his home ground. He's expected to play good there. You cannot go wrong with Wankhede when it comes to Sachin Tendulkar, because that's where he's grown up. That's where he's played the most matches till he was selected for his international debut and all that. So, home ground is always your office. If you are claiming party in negotiation, there are two parties in negotiations. Okay, one is a claiming party and the other is a listening or complying party, let's say. So the claiming party, if the claiming party is having a meeting in its own office, okay, it's like a home ground, because if you're a very resourceful person in your own office, right? You know where the material is, you know where you can get the data from, if you're required anything extra, you just have to go through and get it along. So that gives you a leading edge. If not, the location should be a third party location altogether. Tera bhi office nahi, mera bhi office nahi, kya aur milta hai, which makes sense. Absolutely well. Set up a meeting with mutually convenient time. Book it. Tell the person Thursday, 2 o'clock, we're going to get into negotiation and we're going to be there till 6:30 in the evening. So I'm setting aside a slot of 4.5 hours. Be there. It's convenient for you. It's convenient for you as well as me. And then let's sit and talk. What is more important is allocation of appropriate length of time. See, you may have 7, 8 points on your agenda. Okay. Generally, the tendency is you don't straight get to the uh, important point. uh, like you don't really get into the main point at the start of the meeting. The tendency is to go through small things, and then you hit the big pot, and then you taper it down. That's generally the way the agenda goes. Okay, it's not really I mean, it's not always that way, but most situations it is that way, because what happens is it kind of relaxes people. People know what you're talking, and uh, thing is, suddenly get into a bigger point. People are like, okay, fine. Uh, well, I'm prepared, but it hits like a jackpot. So you're not actually giving them time to settle down. So that's the way it is. But you have to understand how much time you're giving to every point in the agenda. Why meetings go vary in offices? This is the critical point. You ask any person who's working in any organization, what is it that you hate the most in the office? The person will promptly say, okay, I'm so sorry, but I don't like to get into meetings. I don't want to be in meetings. Rather, I would be at my desk and be a productive employee. I don't want to get into a meeting and jabber, 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 and with no conclusion. Nobody likes meetings. Trust me on this. I mean, I don't think I worked for like 15, 18 years in teaching, 8 years in industry, so almost like 20, 25 years. Trust me, meetings are a pain. They seriously are painful. Why? Because you don't know where you're heading. I mean, you have the agenda, you're sitting there, and people are just, bal ke khar type. Sometimes it's like they just talk, and you're like, do can you please come to conclusion? It's okay, I agree with whatever you're trying to say, but it's very painful. Trust me. I'm not creating your mindset for meetings or something or anti mindset, but the thing is, it is true. Very few managers I have come across, like only 2 or 3 managers who know how to conduct a meeting, who know what they expect out of meeting. You'll get into the meeting, you are consulted, you're asked to give your opinion, you come to a decision, and the guy helps you to come to a decision. Okay, and the meeting is done in the scheduled slot. If it is slotted for 30 minutes, you will finish at 29 minutes. And there are only 2 or 3 managers in 25 years I've come across like this, that they know how what they're talking, they know what they are expecting, and then help people see it and come to a point. Most meetings go haywire. Trust me on this. They really go haywire, and then people don't want to get into a situation. So there is always an anxiety if I'm getting on a negotiating table, like, oh my God, this is an agenda and this is what it is. And oh. And there is always an additional anxiety that plays in between is, would my issues get addressed in the whole process? So subjective factors are something which play a major role in negotiation. How many times, this is an official thing, so let's leave it aside for a moment, okay? How many times it happens that, we concede or we try and agree with somebody else just because the other person is somebody whom we are very comfortable with, we have a relationship with, or we are friends with, or the person is having some authority in our lives. There are so many situations that we don't want to compromise on that kind of a relationship, so we give in. We just say, okay, fine, let's do it. And we're not happy about it. Okay, trust me, now, most situations we're not happy about. We don't really like that way. We keep getting that feeling, oh my God, he just, roller coaster, how do I put it? He just rollered me because she's elder in the family, because she likes me, because he likes me, because I have a relationship, because this, because that. But how many times we willingly do it? If because it is willingly, it is not it's not going to affect the negotiation anyway, right? Because the situation of negotiation doesn't arise if I'm doing it willingly for you. Okay, but if I'm not happy with it and I have to do it, okay, because of relationships that come into picture, the same scenario happens in on a negotiation table. Okay, fear of authority. For example, a larger company is negotiating with a smaller company. The status of that organization affects the way negotiation takes place. And these are subtle factors. These never are spoken factors in a meeting. Never. Never a spoken factor. Absolutely not. They are always the factors which have an underplay, tone, kind of undercurrent situation. Future and practical considerations, like what is it that going to happen to me, my organization, my people? Are we going to have a good deal out of it? Do you think I'll have to ask some of my people to let me to leave? I'm not willing to do that. Although it's a major consideration and it would be a point of agenda, that thing plays on somebody's mind when he's talking. Okay, another is there's a very classic case I'd like to explain. Okay, I read it recently that if you are there was a road. Okay, there was a small society, and there was a big ugly sign. The company wanted to put up there saying that this is a children playing zone, so please drive your vehicles carefully. Okay, and The thing is, the sign or the board of which the flexes they whichever they provided, it was really ugly. So people were like, no, I'm sorry, I don't want to put it up in my yard. I don't want to put it in my porch. It's not going to look good. So I'm sorry. Okay. So what a company did was they did a very smart trick. They printed stickers, small stickers. Okay, something like A4, half A4 or something that size. And they said, okay, you don't want to put up the flags, it's fine. Why don't you do one thing? Okay, put up the sticker either on your gate or your porch, or some window where it is displayed. So people said, okay, one sticker is not going to cause any harm, that's fine, we'll put it. So everyone put up a sticker. And then when the company said, okay, why don't you um, look at putting up the board, the success rate was much higher. Why? Because one, you're already asking for a small thing, and then once you set your foot inside the door, then you're asking for a bigger thing. All right, that is one part. Secondly, the person feels obliged. If you're putting a small sticker, then it's like, okay, I'm already committed to the cause, so now why not put up a bigger flex? छोटा sticker तो लगा ही लिया है, तो बड़ा ही लगा लेते हैं. So that always happens. So there is always a mutual obligation thing. Again, this is an example which may not come to the table, agreed. But if I've already done a favor to somebody, and that person is coming on a negotiation table, sitting on a negotiation table, he will have that obligation feeling. Even I will have that obligation feeling. Okay, personal considerations do take place, but factors that affect the most in negotiation is persuasive skills. How persuasive you are. Persuasive as in you're not hammering the person. There's a difference. Okay, you're understanding the psychology, you're understanding the language tone, how you're going to talk, you do use of body language. More importantly, are you thinking from the other person's perspective? Okay, I'll quote one example. Okay, I normally performance appraisal meetings that happen in organizations are not very happy meetings. I'll be very upfront with you, because people go in with a lot of expectations. People come out with a lot of disappointment, whatever happens. Okay, in the meeting, that is the great place where huge negotiations take place. Huge, mind you, and they're not easy negotiations, because every organization has its limitations, right? You have to give some person who you can't give great ratings to every person in performance appraisal, can you? You're appraising a performance of an employee over a period of time. Okay, and 6 employees are there, you can't say all 6 are working great. Some will work lesser than some. That is the principle. That is going to be the situation. That's it doesn't happen that all 6 are doing that wow kind of well, excuse me, it doesn't happen that way, right? So out of 6, 2 are doing great, 3 are doing right, okay, not bad but okay, and one is like brilliant. This is always a breakup. So you understand there is a chunk of people, okay, probably the maximum chunk of people in the team, who is not exactly great working, but they are hardworking guys. They are good. They're not bad, but they're not, giving you brilliant results. So when you're sitting across and talking to them about, okay, fine, I'm going to give you meets expectation, 3-star rating, and the person just loses his temper. It's like, why? I did this, I did that, I did this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it takes huge effort from both sides to come to a very mutual ground and understanding that it's okay, fine, we are going to settle on this, we are going to settle on that, and make it convenient. That's how it happens. It's not easy. Either party, if you have a very arrogant language, arrogant body language, you're not understanding what a person is trying to tell you, it's not never going to work out. I've seen negotiations on performance appraisal tables going on for 6 hours, 7 hours. People get in there in the morning and get out there from the in the evening time, and still they're not happy, because there's a lot of getting bloodied in the war situation going on. That's the way it is. Okay. So what are the stages of negotiation? Okay. First, always, always, always prepare before you're getting into a negotiation. Always. Absolutely. There is no two way about it. Preparation, please. Why? What if you don't prepare? Tell me one thing. What if you don't prepare in the negotiation? Can you tell me what will happen? Okay. Hello, are you there? Are you there, guys?
Yes, ma'am, we are here.
Ah, well, oh, you scared me. Okay.
Sorry, ma'am.
No, it's like you sometimes feel like okay, fine, I'm talking and talking and nobody, there's no response. Hey, सुन भी रहे हो कि नहीं? So I'm always tempted to sing that song. सुन रहा
No, ma'am, we
है
are
तो.
listening.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So what if you get into a negotiation without preparation? Tell me, what will happen? Why do you need to prepare? Especially if you're a claimant party. Why do you need to prepare? And what do you need to prepare? Both. Think about it for a minute. No? Any guesses? Not even a guess? Okay. Have you heard about the terminology called SWOT analysis?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll explain. Okay. What is a SWOT analysis? It's a strength, weakness, opportunity, threat analysis. This is a very old theory in management where you are expected to do, an analysis of yourself, that what's your strength, what's your weakness, what according to you is threat for your product or even you in the market, what according to you is your weakness. So this kind of analysis gives you a picture of where do you need to work on, what is good can be made better, or what is weak can be converted into a strength. If there is a threat, can it be converted into an opportunity? That's what the analysis is. Now, if you are interested in getting into a negotiation process, it is extremely required that you have an accurate assessment of the party on the other side. Okay, you might be the claiming party or you might be the complying party, either ways. It doesn't matter. You have to have preparation before you get into a negotiation. Okay, strengths and weaknesses especially. Because then you know where you can play, where you can, get things done. Second, what is the objective of the negotiation process? You have to have very clear on your mind. What's the objective? Okay, let's say, is that Sparsh? Are you there, Sparsh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Sparsh, if I'll give you a situation, okay, let's understand that you're doing what? You are a photographer or what, like?
Sound student.
You're a sound student. Wow, that's
Yeah.
that's really a great field there. It's really a great field. Seriously, it's the unsung hero of the film. I always call it. Okay, so if you are going for a job interview, let's say you're going for a job interview. Okay, so
All right.
which Sony channel is that fine?
Yeah.
Then let's go to Netflix. better. Yeah.
All
Okay, let's go to Netflix. So you go to Netflix and you're sitting there, and the guy is having a job interview with you, and you're expected to talk about the package.
yeah.
Okay. What is the objective of this negotiation process? Interview and negotiation process, both.
First things first, to get the project,
Okay.
and second thing, to like land the whole uh, package thing in like our court, so
Okay.
earn more profit.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you don't know what is your code, would it help you? How? Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I said if you don't know what is your code, would it help you?
Nope.
No. You will have a proper preparation of, assessment of expenses. Apart from that, some 40%, 30% over and above the expenses as your profit calculation, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, you will go with some figure in your mind. Probably you will go with some paperwork to support it,
Yes.
which you might have already forwarded to the guy. Okay. And then you will sit down and then the negotiation starts. But you have a very clear objective in your mind that one, you have to get the project, the work, and plus you have to get it in the price that you're quoting. Correct?
Yeah.
So if you don't have this objective, the entire discussion will not hold any ground. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is one part. Okay. Then secondly, I wanted to ask you what, say for example, you are doing a Netflix original production film. Okay. And you quote, I don't know what is the quote. I'm sorry. I'm just giving you a ballpark figure. Something like, 2-3 lakhs is your quotation. Okay.
Yeah.
But the actual price is way below 2-3 lakhs that you've quoted. Can this
Yeah.
happen? Right?
Definitely.
So, yeah. I mean, it's a hypothetical situation. Let's just consider. Okay. Like if you
Yeah.
go there and you quote something like 3, and the guy on the other end says, I don't think we're going to agree with that because it's a very unrealistic figure. And according to our experience, you're not going to get more than, you're not going to incur more than 1.52 lakhs of expenses on this project. So where does this 3 lakh figure come from? Right. So what is happening here is, according to you, the figure is real. Okay.
Yeah.
But according to the project, maybe you are seriously expecting something which is unrealistic to achieve in this negotiation. It's not going to work out. What I'm trying to tell you here is, all you guys, is whenever you're entering a negotiation, you should have a very realistic idea about what you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to get from the other party. Okay, if your expectations are not realistic, it's not going to happen because the other party is going to think that ये कहाँ से आ गया भाई, ये नहीं होने वाला, it's not going to happen. Once the moment of unreal feeling sets in, the tables turn immediately. The tables turn with the thought that you're expecting something unreal from me, and then you expect me to concede. You expect me to get along on the project. It's not going to work out. So I have a very realistic objective. Sparsh, what if you quote 3 lakhs? Okay. Say, okay, you
Yeah.
quote 3 lakhs and the guy says 1.5. So he's bringing you down straight to half the cost what you are claiming, correct?
I won't agree.
You won't agree. This is one part. But if what happens if he says, you come down a bit, I will raise the bar a bit. Okay. What will be the limit that you can go down to?
2.5 maximum.
2.5. Correct. So that's your intended thing. कि यार भाई 2.5 तक बोलेगा मैं कर लूंगा, 3 देता है तो अच्छा, 2.5 is good enough. Correct?
Yeah.
Right. So what you're saying, setting is, you're setting your lower limit. You know what is your lower limit. My advice is, normally, when you're getting into a negotiation table, never ever let the guy what is your lowest quote. Never. Not at the time of deal, not after the deal also, because then he knows, that, oh, okay, ye to tayar tha yaar. Because what happens is, say for example, you are actually ready to come down till 2. Okay, the guy is pushing you till 1.5, finally agrees at 2.5, and then you tell him, "Arey yaar, tu do bolta na, to bhi main kar deta." Then the guy feels cheated. Yaar, come on. I mean, I should have asked you for 2, right? Then next time what happens is, next time when you'll go to him with a project, he'll start with 2, because then he knows, he ये आ सकता है बंदा 2 तक नीचे. You getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where the negotiations are. Okay, never reveal your lower limit. Next is, what are the points you're willing to concede? That you have to know in a preparation phase. Okay, for example, I don't know much about the sound technique. I'm just assuming what I'm talking correct. Okay, like for example, how do I put it? Okay, for example, okay, shoot, yeah. Let's say if you're doing music, it's a little easier to explain.
Yeah.
Let's say if you're doing music, okay, then you'll do the songs, you won't do the background score. That's what you have on your mind. Okay. For the given cost, you say, okay, I'll do the songs, but I'm not going to do the background score. So you are not going to tell this right at the beginning, right? That I'm not going to do the background score. I will do the songs. You're talking about the entire project initially. But when you see that, it's not going to work out, you are ready to let go of the background songs thing. Okay, so the background music, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do the songs in the given call. So you have to know what is it that you're. I'm sorry, the example is seriously wrong, maybe, because I'm trying to talk from the
It's appropriate.
creative field side. Yeah, but I mean, I just hope you get the point what I'm trying to explain. That that yeah, there are some points in the entire deal that some points you're going to let go, sometimes you're going to stick to. So you have to know where you're conceding, what is it that you are going to compromise in the whole process. All right. Let's basically understand that, define your issues at the hand. Actual negotiation process. Define your issues first. What is it that you are looking at? Okay, what is your problem area? And then start talking. Don't open all the cards at the same time. Although you have to put all the cards on the table in negotiation process, you don't do it right at the beginning. ये अपनी हिंदी फिल्म के हीरो लोग हैं ना, बहुत दिमाग खराब करके रखते हैं. Trust me. It's like, sir, this is it. लेना है तो लो types. And the other guy says, okay, fine, I'll take it all. It doesn't work in life. It doesn't happen that way. And what happens is you kind of slowly dish it out. This is what it is. This is what it is. Because you don't know where. And the most important part in actual negotiation process is listen and watch. Critical, most critical. Listen and watch. Don't rush. Don't rush to any conclusion. The person might be saying something in words, the person is actually saying something else in body language. 70 to 75% of the communication happens with body language in people. Words are only 25 to 30% what we say. Okay, 70-75% happens on your face, the way you look at a person, the way you use your hand and gestures and posture and everything. Watch people before you say something. Listen to people before you say something. Don't rush. Don't be the one who is making a final solution all the time. Listen what the other person is expecting, and then you can coin it and put it up. That it will also give you a good idea that you are incorporating what the person is trying to tell you in your solution. That builds a good rapport with people, because then I know, okay, now I know when I'm dealing with Sparsh, I know Sparsh is taking into consideration what I want in the process, and then giving me or devising me a solution accordingly. Otherwise, I will be the one who's giving a solution and he'll feel smothered, or he will give me a solution and I'll be like, अरे यार इसने तो अपने end से बोल दिया, it doesn't work for me. It can always have that. And the third most important part in any negotiation is the implementation of agreement. Negotiation is just coming to an understanding. Implementation is something where you're going to put the solution to work. Okay, put the solution in practical life, and that's where the whole thing gets into picture, right? तुम बात चाहे जो करो यार, end of the day, month by end of the month, end of the day, you have to deliver whatever it is. So Sparsh I'm sorry Sparsh, I'm coming back to you again and again because apparently you're right there in front of me.
No worries.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, you can always talk to Netflix all to your heart's content. Okay, that's also absolutely fine. But what happens is when the project starts, Netflix has to give you the work, and second, if they give you the work, you have to deliver. Am I right? If that is not happening, then there is no point in getting into an agreement and negotiation. Correct? This is a real okay.
Absolutely.
I'll just come to only 3 or 4 points in this entire slide which I think are really relevant. Okay, don't sell benefits to people. Considering the time at hand, I'll talk about 3 or 4 important points here. Okay, don't sell benefits. Absolutely, never sell. Okay, talk, develop a dialogue, and then come up with a solution. This is one. Second, don't interrupt. Okay, for example, if Sainil, right? Yeah. If Sainil is trying to tell me something and I'm like, he is halfway telling, I'm like, okay, wait. Okay, I think I have to do this, you telling me something. No, wait. No, I don't think so. I may not say no, but I'll just keep constantly contradicting you, constantly cutting you in between, constantly interrupting you. After 5 minutes, you're going to get cheesed off. And it's like, I don't want to talk to you. You don't even listen to me. Okay. And that creates a serious issue in a dialogue development. Don't ever do that. Do not interrupt people. Let them talk. That's okay. पर आपको लगेगा भाई कितना बोलता है यार, ये 2 मिनट रुकेगा तो मैं अपना मुंह खोल के बोल दूं इसको कि करना क्या है. Fine, that's okay. But at the same time, you also need to understand that the other person might be seriously explaining you something. Listen. Okay. Another is we love to get confrontational. We love to get confronted. Trust me. Most people think that, I'm a very docile person. I don't like to confront people. I'm okay. I really don't like to contradict. I don't like to get into fights, and it's okay. But we all love to confront. All of us. Everyone, without exception. Okay. The first thing that will come to you, yaar, tu kya karta hai yaar ye? This is a very common line, okay? I had a friend, we used to call him that, kya karta hai yaar? He used to constantly say this line to all of us. Kya kar rahe ho yaar? What is this happening? Are you nuts? This is not what we. Hang on. See, this is. You don't have to attack people. No. See, I love to quote this example in all my communication classes. So this class is no exception. So I'm going to tell you. Instead of saying तुम्हारे ट्राउजर छोटी हो गई है, you can always say आपकी हाइट बढ़ गई है. What I want to say is there are always other ways to put things. You might be saying the same thing, but you can put it nicely. You can put it in a different way. And that works. Trust me, that works. Okay. What is your point? From your point, it has to come to our point. And you should know where to cut the discussions. See, I know I can sound very contradictory when I'm saying that, listen to people and cut the discussion. I can totally understand. एक पे टिके हो, या तो घोड़ा बोलो या तो चतुर बोलो. Why are you saying both the things? Agreed. But the thing is, you should know where the discussion is getting derailed. It is getting digressed. That is the point you should know. You should always come back. Okay, but let people talk. जब तक काम का बात कर रहे हैं, let him talk. आपको लग रहा है बहुत ज्यादा इधर जा रहा है उधर जा रहा है, उसको पकड़ के पीछे ले आओ, वहाँ बात करते हैं. you know. And once you reach an agreement, it has to be final, has to be final. After it is finalized, there are no changes. Till you finalize, you can talk all the changes that you want, all the changes, all the compromises, concessions, criticisms, everything is fine. But the moment you say, okay, this is done, this is from your side, this is from our side, let's finalize, is done. See, okay, uske baad ye nahi. Take breaks, it helps. Okay, sometimes the atmosphere gets emotionally charged. Break le lo. चाय पी के आओ, चक्कर मार के आओ, सिगरेट पी के आओ, after some 5 minutes calm down and go, okay, let's talk. Okay, whenever I teach business email writing, I always say this to all my students, okay, that whenever you receive a mail and you feel this is a very derogatory mail, okay, you read and you were like, क्या लिखा है यार, ये मेरे को अटैक कर रहा है, मैं काम नहीं करता हूँ, ये नहीं करता हूँ, what is this nonsense that this person, you flare up. Okay, never write an emotional condition में mail कभी नहीं लिखनी, because it is extremely likely that you will sit and you will rant in the mail, which is not required and very unprofessional, and then you'll shoot it and then you'll realize, oops, I should not have written this thing to somebody. Fine, compose, a break लेके आओ, okay, 5 minutes इधर उधर करो, go to the pantry, have a glass of water, talk to somebody, go to somebody else's desk, come back, divert yourself, sit down again, and then write. Let the moment pass. Because if you write with that heat in your mind, I can guarantee you'll write something which you'll never want to write. You'll write something which you'll regret all the time. Okay, so hang on with that. And deadlocks. I'm going to spend at least 3 minutes on this because this is really, really, really critical. What if you reach deadlocks in negotiations? Okay, then you realize you're talking in circle, the other person is talking in circles. What do? Move to next point. Okay, you can always come back. Move to next point. So, sir, एक काम करते हैं. Can we discuss this point after some 10-15 minutes? पहले ये वाला point cover कर लेते हैं. Okay, talk that. Come back to this point. Maybe that person also, after coming back to that point, he realizes we have to come to some conclusion. It gets solved. You play Candy Crush? Some of you. Do you play Candy Crush?
Yeah.
अरे वाह, कौन है स्पर्श? I like this guy. You play Candy Crush? I play Candy Crush. I am on 5,800 some level. Okay. It sometimes the game that comes is seriously nightmarish. They call it nightmarishly hard level. It's a very nightmarish level. निकलता नहीं यार. It doesn't get solved. How many times you just go on and get stuck. Sometimes it happens you're stuck on one level for like 5 days, 8 days, 10 days, and you start getting frustrated. Like, yeah, what is happening, Then what do? What people like me do? Shut down Candy Crush for 2-3 days. Come back. After 2-3 days, you open it again. Then you solve. Dimag fresh hota hai, you always solve, you click it. Same logic. You think there is something going on, which you're not coming to a conclusion, move to the next point, come back. Helps. Okay. Have a very clear idea. Like I said, in case of Sparsh, you said, right? You can come down till what, 2? Max is you can come down till 2 lakhs, right? So that's your limit. Uske baad you're not giving any concessions. Never start a negotiation with a concession. Never. Okay, I'll give you a typical sales example, right? For example, I am selling this to you for 50,000, let's say, okay, for 50,000 rupees. And then I start my dialogue with, sir, आज अगर आप ये deal sign करते हो, तो I'll give you what, 10% less on the price and go ahead, okay? Okay, then I'll go, I'm happy with 10%. I'll sign, I'll buy. Next time I'll come up and I'll tell you, okay, sir, this is now for 55,000. The first thing the customer will ask me is, okay, 10% off दोगे, उसके बाद बोलो आप कितना दोगे. Are you giving me anything more than 10%? 10% तो it is bound, you're like, understood, आप मुझे दोगे 10% का. Then you're at a loss. Because now you will have to talk about 55,000 minus 10% minus whatever the guy is expecting. So another 10% probably. So you are down the drain by 20%. You're setting expectations in the whole thing. So don't start with concessions. You give concessions, but you do them at the end of the thing. Or wherever you feel, there is a deadlock. Now you need to give concessions. Fine. Give concession, solve the issue. Okay. Sometimes you will have to there are some negotiations which are very serious, like legal negotiations, or acquisition ones, merger ones, which take some time for people to come to a conclusion. And if it is dragging along, then you might actually want to tell people that let's involve a third party, a legal party, a third party who sees both sides and probably can come up with a better solution for you and for me. So but people don't usually like that. They think it's their affair, their organization, their deal, their company. So I may not want to, involve a third party in that. It's okay. I will sit down and talk about it myself. Most importantly, yeah, sometimes people go with the organizational value thing. My organization doesn't support this kind of thing. So I'm really sorry. I will not be getting into this. So it kind of gives you a solution. Most importantly, don't fight. Remain positive. That outcome you want is you have to work with that person irrespective. So you have to have that on your mind. Finally, that it has to be a workable solution. I like this line a lot. I love the film, of course, but I hope you've seen the film. Have you? I've seen Godfather.
Just parts of it, ma'am, not the whole movie.
I'm sorry, what? Can you repeat?
I have just seen parts of it, not the whole movie, ma'am.
Ah, you have to see it. You have to see it to believe it. Brilliant, brilliant film. Al Brando and Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, all of them. Great. And apparently there are a lot of films that have been a copy or based or inspired by Godfather in India. Sarkar is one of them, Ram Gopal Verma's. If you've seen Nayagan, Shakti Velu Nayagan, Kamala Hassan film, Mani Ratnam, it's again based on, loosely based, but yeah. But this is a line in Godfather, he says it in a very nice, cool, calm voice, you come to negotiate with me. I'm sorry, I'll make you an offer you cannot refuse. He's a mafia don, so you can understand what kind of offer he'll make anyway. Yeah. Any questions, guys? We've come to the end of the negotiations. I'm sorry, this might sound today a bit of more theory than the actual practical lesson. But apparently there are some points in this entire topic which I think you should know before you get into, because one of the most important table that you'll sit down and negotiate is the interview table, where you'll sit, you'll, talk about your perks, talk about your benefits, talk about your salaries, talk about your work timings and everything. So you've got to know how do you do that. In fact, there is a separate session we conduct on negotiating for jobs, in an interview kind of. So that's another part. Any questions so far? Till then where did Daniel Radcliffe go? He's not there today. Okay. Or you might have changed it. I don't know. I hope you followed what I wanted to tell you. Shivani?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, first you followed, I know. What about you, Shivani?
Shivani, are you there?
Rishabh, right? Rishabh,
Yeah, ma'am.
have you understood?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Sainil, I'll keep coming back to you, Sainil, because your DP is extremely interesting. Yeah. Have you followed anything? What did I tell you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's do one thing. I have a minute or two. Okay. You all are media guys, right? So how many of your photographers in this class? Or even videographers or camera guys? Ayush, okay.
Yeah, it's also from
Uh, okay, you're one. All right. Okay. So Sainil and Ayush, okay, I propose that we have to do a short film, okay, on a 10 minutes short film. All right. And it's about rural Pune. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I come from Pune, so I'll always say Pune. Okay, rural Pune. And we are going to shoot it from tourism perspective. It's going to be a 10-minute short film near a couple of forts in Pune. So can you tell me approximate time and resources and money? You can give me a ballpark figure. You don't. I know it's we are short of. You don't have to give me a proposal. So can you give me some idea?
The shoot time could be approximately a month,
Okay.
and
Hmm.
if we want to shoot it as a documentary, then we can use the documentary cameras, like
Mhm.
2 of them,
Okay.
and the budget approximately can be 5 lakh.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Month. Do you think you're going to take a month to shoot that? 10
For
minute
short film, I
job.
don't think it would take a month. Maybe 4-5 days.
4-5 days. Yeah, I know.
If it's a short film.
If it's a short film.
That
So let's
will-
take a week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
it can be a week.
it's a short
A
film, then
week.
yeah, a week.
Yeah. So you didn't ask me two critical questions. You're sitting with a negotiation idea in mind, right?
Yeah.
How many films do I want to make? First and foremost. That's the first question that you'll ask me, right? How many films do I want to make?
Ma'am,
So let's say
okay.
3 films.
Okay.
Let's say 3 films. Okay. So 3
Hmm.
films, you're going to take a month.
Yeah.
Depends on what type of film.
I'm sorry, Ayush, you're not very clear.
Like if it's a documentary, it could take like a month or years. Like we don't.
It's not
There's a
really a
strict amount.
docu. It's not really a docu. It's basically a very attracting tourist kind of thing. So it's more like an advert docu. Okay, and then
Then it would be much more than 4-5 days. Each
okay,
film.
okay, and cost wise, what are you saying? 5 lakhs for 3 films. ज़्यादा नहीं हो रहा है?
Depends on the quality also. Like
Yeah, quality of course is not to be compromised. फिल्म देख के बंदे को लगना चाहिए ना इधर आके टाइम पास करना चाहिए थोड़ा सा. You should visit that place. Sorry for the word time pass, but yeah, you should visit that place. 5 lakhs.
I think 5 lakhs will be fine because we need to pay the cinematographers, the DOP, 3 films, right? So,
Mhm.
if that
So cinematographer and camera guy can be one, right? Or do you have to have 2 different guys? I know cinematographer
If
is
it's a low
the
budget
one who
film, then
directs the
it could be a
camera,
month.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ayush,
if it's a low budget film, then it could be a one guy job.
one guy job, okay?
Yeah.
Right. So okay, but can you tell me the last final figure.
Hmm.
Mhm. Okay, I'll provide transport for you guys. I'll ferry you wherever you are. Say if you're in Mumbai, I'll ferry you to Pune. I'll drop you back. Transport is my responsibility.
Traveling charges. Okay, okay, yeah, it's on you.
Yeah,
So
traveling is my responsibility, and your stay is my responsibility. Then
Then also, I
we
think
could-
5 lakh is like right.
kahe? I mean, why? Sorry, kahe? You? Okay, I don't want to grill you further, but you get the idea what I'm talking.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because see, I've not actually gotten into a lot of details like, why do you need a cinematographer and a camera guy to be different? Both can be one. You said you need a DOP. DOP essentially is the cinematographer, right? Or is he different?
No, it's
Okay, and then probably you also need a script writer.
yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
Sainil, Ayush, you could have supported your argument with what about permissions? You are going to
Yeah.
shoot in the rural area.
right.
You
You're
may
gonna need a
need
lot
to
of
pay the people living there just for to shoot their
giving
shop.
interviews. Yeah.
Exactly, for giving interviews, to shoot their shop settings and everything. Sometimes you टेबल के नीचे से आपको करना पड़ता है अगर आपको शूट करना होता है ऐसे
I understand. I just threw you into the discussion right now. If I actually sit down with you with a proper proposal, then we'll really have a hard time negotiating. I can guarantee you that. The thing is, because
Also,
then
as a
Mhm.
as a first year students, we don't have like any experience. Like we have
No,
zero
it's
experience.
absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. No, I just wanted to give you a taste of it, kind. This is what happens basically.
Mm,
So,
right, right.
when you are actually giving a proposal, people are going to, get by point on that. There is a classic term in marketing, and this is very connected to negotiation skills, so I'm kind of mentioning it. That, never salami your project. We call it a salami of project. What is a salami of project? So, for example, if I ask you to make a docu, right? Then see the expenses are like 6, 7. Let's say there are 6, 7 expenses you're going to incur. One is the camera expenses, your travel, food, stay, all that expenses. Then you have the script writer, you have the DOP, you have final editing, studio expenses before you make a film. Then you will have somebody who's going to add music to it. So there are like 6, 7 parameters you're going to get for making a film. And then once you start, okay, I will take care of travel and tourism. Okay, then this comes out. Okay, then this music part. I have a guy who will do the music. Aap music ka chhod do. What are you doing? You're cutting the whole thing. Okay, section by section, the person on the other end starts negotiating with you on small points, and then what happens is your cost probably comes down below half, where you're not getting really anything about it. And then even it also runs into a danger that the entire project can go disarray. That there are a lot of dependent factors that are created. Sir, aap music care karoge to we'll do the film. Then the music guy doesn't turn up. Then you are on your you're kind of pulling your hair out because the guy is not there, and then you really need to deliver it by a particular deadline, and then you end up doing a lot of follow-ups, this and that. So I'm just quoting a picture. The point is, what I'm trying to tell you here is, it is called a salami. Thin slices of whatever you're doing. Why? Just tell him this is an entire package. We'll take care from one end to another. And I think this is better because this is going to cause less headache for you. So this goes like that joke, the guy goes to the doctor and says, I want to get plastic surgery done. So doctor says, I'll charge you 6 lakhs. So sir, what if I get the plastic? Something like that. So don't do that. Okay. That's one thing you have to take care in negotiation. Yeah. And from my side, if you have anything, please ask. No problem.
If you have any questions, you can ask, or maybe you can convey your questions to me, and maybe I'll talk to Prajakta ma'am. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Oh,
Okay. Cool.
Yep.
So I'll see you guys and ma'am. You also tomorrow, right?
tomorrow,
Same
yes.
time.
Same time.
And tomorrow is the last session with ma'am. So if you have any questions, तीनों जब जो sessions हुए थे उसके बारे में, you can ask her. Yeah.
Right. What are we covering tomorrow? I had it with me. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What are we covering tomorrow? Like,
It's business ethics, right?
oh,
Yeah. So
Oh.
just an overview, because there are a lot of ethics and lot of
Yeah.
things.
Now I'll have to seriously think, what do I have to tell you in 45-50 minutes time, basically.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's one part. A lot of do's and don'ts in that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Bye, guys.
bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you so
Alright.
much for being there. Thank you.
Thank you, miss.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Kshitija ma'am, can I leave?
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Kshitija ma'am.
Yeah.
It's your end of business communication lectures.
Yeah, tomorrow it's gonna be. I'll let you know about Wednesday, what's happening on Wednesday tomorrow. If we have lecture, we can have an activity, or talk about things which we covered in syllabus. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much.
Yeah.